Hey, everyone. How are you doing? We haven't done this for ages, but I was so happy when Margarita reached out to me to finally bring everything together what we were working on in the last couple of years, right? And this is the time. How are you, Margarita? Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Agnes, my darling. Yeah, actually, it's been more than a couple of years now. Huh?
It flies,
But time flies when you are having so much fun with things around.
exactly.
Huh?
Exactly. I will be honest with you. When you reached out to me regarding the topic we will be talking about, let's go through the emotions what I went through. Right? It's like I was shocked. After that, I was, yeah, of course, you are the person who wants to address this. You are the best person to address this, in my opinion. Uh, tons of tons of emotions and stories came up, right, where I was like, I know people who go through the same and needs to hear this. I kind of think once we introduce the topic you will understand. I kind of think I still need the topic, right, because of my own experience and everything that goes on these days in the world. I think unconditioning and really not being triggered by everything and really coming to the truth within is such an important topic and such an important, yeah, theme, I guess, all around the world these days, that we really need to address this. So let's talk about today's topic. Do tell me, why have you chosen this title, what you have chosen?
This title, I guess, it has also a nice translation into Italian, which means basically bring it all out. This is the first reason also I chose the title of the topic in this way, because I believe now it's time to really involve as many people as possible into these topics which still are very deep taboos in basically all the cultures. And by the way, let me mention to the ones who are going to watch this video that you are in which country are you
Hungary.
now?
I'm in Hungary. Yeah.
Okay. I'm in Spain. We met in London. We know many different people from basically all over the world. Um, and the first message that I want to uh, tell is we have created in such an easy way through meditation, spirituality, humanity, human connections, these kind of topics as well, these kind of conversations, uh, connections with people all over the world, coming from very different places, different cultures, different social groups, ethnicities, in such an easy way that it's really time to stop, carry on and seeing what we see in the world right now, because it's so stupid. Um, so the world that we really want is already existing, and we are just an example of it. How people from many different places and situations can come together in such an easy way, and we don't need anything of all that we are seeing, listening, hearing, watching everywhere right now. And I want to also add on top of this that I really believe all of these things are being created as a sort of fiction or movie or film to distract people from their essence, from their humanity, from their real power and strength of being able to create whatever kind of reality you want right now, right here, right now. So, having said that, the other part of the title of this meeting, conversation, talk, chat, of course, in English, has a very high resonance with the topic. So it's the topic. It's about death. It's about choosing the way some people decide they want to die. We all know that different ways of dying also mean different things. So it's another way for me to come again to the death topic because people really have to understand what this is all about. Too many people don't understand, they don't want to know, they don't want to see, but by doing so, they are just creating stupid fears that prevent them from seeing the beauty of life, of existence, and of themselves, let's say, in a broader way. So maybe this video is not for everybody yet. So if you don't feel comfortable with the topic of death, dying, and killing yourself consciously, maybe this video is not for you in this very right time, or probably it is. So I really recommend you really watch it. And then you can make all the comments that you like, because of course we always welcome any kind of feedback, any kind of comment. We don't care really about any kind of things that can be addressed to us. We don't care about any kind of psychic attacks because we are stronger than that. We have a lot of tools, we had a lot of connections, we had a lot of awareness of how to deal with all of this. So we are not scared of receiving anything really. And if this is going to trigger, even in a bad mood or in a not highest and best way, someone, that's perfect. That's perfect because we are so willing to be to go over and beyond this stupid, politically correct kind of collective consciousness that please do tell us everything, what you think, what you feel, especially what you feel, because this is going to be a lot about feeling, because feeling is what gets you beyond what you are forced to see with your physical eye. So beyond what it seems like, but is really not.
Yes, if let me add a couple of things to that, because if you feel triggered, right, and if that really attacks your religious beliefs, or I don't know, yeah, the political correctness these days, what drives me insane, to be honest. But the one thing what I was 100% sure of when you reached out to me regarding the topic, and for the sake of authenticity, right, I know really little about what happened, and I know, you know, a couple of sentences because we wanted to have an authentic conversation about it. But one thing I was 100,000% sure, and that's why I think you are the best person to talk about this, because I knew that you will be able to add a spin to the topic, which is the higher truth. No matter what religion you are in, no matter what culture you grew up in, if you are able and ready to see beyond your conditioning, I guess, and the frustration that comes up and the negativity that comes up, I kind of feel like that's your mirror, right? That is something. The intention behind the topic and everything what we will be talking about today is just for us to come back to love, to ourselves, to our unconditioned true light, right? So it is not here to steer the pot, it is here to see beyond the pot, I guess, or beyond your filters. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out because I know you, I know how you operate, and I know that the intention is at the end what counts, right?
Yes, thank you for that. So, do you want to hear the story?
Of course, I'm dying to hear the story.
Okay, so for of course, because we could actually stay and chat for forever, as you always uh, feel and know, but for the sake of the time, maybe we keep it short a little bit. So I will not tell the full story right now because it will take me ages to do that. I will just start from the core of the episode, and then we go back and forth a little bit. So the intention that I want to set for this chat, for this video, is actually to see beyond what it seems, is to see with the eyes. So it is actually to have the courage to see with your physical eyes, because it takes a lot of courage for that as well.
Do I need tissues? Do I need tissues at the end?
I don't know, maybe you do or maybe you don't. Who
Okay,
knows?
let's see
Yeah,
what triggers.
exactly. So the courage to see with your physical eyes. By the way, this is a good topic for maybe another video connected to healing your sight. Mm? So the things you don't want to see. So the courage to see, the courage to feel, and by connecting these two aspects, the physical and the emotional side of it, you give the, let's say, the power, the energy to see beyond and feel and connect to a beyond layer, maybe closer to the real highest truth, which, just for the sake of authenticity and honesty, I'm still experiencing, because every day my senses are opening up to a different level of seeing, understanding, feeling. So it's not a process that has stopped, it's still ongoing. And probably it will go on forever. And it's okay. And it's beautiful. So the intention is also to, let's say, help people to see the real beauty and magnificence beyond what seems to be a tragic event or a sad event or whatever it feels for you. So, having said that, I will start with telling you when I found my father dead in my house, hanging. So he decided to kill himself. And of course, for me, it was a shocking experience when I saw it, because it probably happened in the morning. I was not in the house. I was in another flat. By the way, it's interesting to see also the different timelines that we can live at the same time. So at the time he was doing that, I was in the other flat arranging all the practicalities with a very nice and sweet girl that I found that could maybe help me taking care of my father here, because actually the flat that I was in was the flat that he was supposed to move in. So we were arranging all these new things. So at the same time I was doing that, meaning that my timeline was set on a very positive future together with my father in this place, in a nice flat, in a nice environment, with a lot of people surrounding him and us of real love and good intention. So a very positive outlook to the future. At the same time, he was killing himself. Okay, so maybe someone can ask, okay, so but did he do it because he didn't know that you were doing this for him? So did he do it because he was desperate at that time and he could see no future for himself, and all this negative kind of mindset, or what?
Yeah, it's an interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting thing to think about. I had a friend who tried to kill himself a couple of times in the last couple of months, and I went into this topic a little bit, and it is interesting, isn't it, that what we don't see and what we don't hear and what we don't share. So yeah. So what is your take on his timeline?
Okay, so this is a very good start. So we can talk about this like forever, because probably this is also the point. So so the first part of the answer is, my father really wanted to, let's say, go home, which is not like meant as a house in Italy where you used to live. No. When I say go home, it means you really wanted to go in the light or wherever. So not on this, let's say, material plane anymore. And the evening before, we were actually celebrating his 81st birthday with a very lovely dinner at the seaside with a lot of friends. And the people that in the last months, since he came to Ibiza, so a couple of months, yeah, with the people that really showed authentic love and affection for him. And they were all also the people that he really loved. When he came here, it was a very difficult experience, especially at the beginning. I will tell you about that later. But he was able to discover a very different kind of human beings and humanity from the one that he used to be with in Italy, for example. Of course, this is not true for all the people that are in Italy and that know my father. Of course, it goes without saying. But here, really, the energy, the energy of the earth, the energy of the heart, the energy of the place, the energy of the nature, the energy of the connection between beings is really totally different. It's a very authentic, opening heart experience. And this is actually the main reason why I decided to go and pick up my father from Italy, not just Italy, but the psychiatric department, and bring him to Ibiza. So basically, I took him from literally from a place with a very, in my vision, distorted idea of well-being and love and affection and care and health and well-being to the place where you can really experience the feelings, the energy, the emotions of unconditional love. And this was true from the very beginning. Even if you go out and you don't feel well and you meet a stranger, they feel you. They know that they can do nothing but come to you and ask you if you are okay, if you need anything, how can they help you, and not because they are being rewarded with something. They just do it because it's the only thing they are, I mean, able to do. It's their heart that tells them this is what you need to do. I mean, there's no other way. It's normal to behave like that. So as the opposite experience, in the previous months, yes, of course, some friends were calling my father, maybe calling me, but really, the level that you can find in this place is a higher level. And I remember my father feeling and living this heart expansion. So that energy center which is in our heart really was opening up, not just every day, but every second. And he was crying, he was able to cry and to let it go of all these very sad, unpleasant, even violent feelings and emotions that he had inside of him, and experience this new level for him of love, the true love. Probably he never experienced that before. So you may say, okay, but then he killed himself. So don't jump to conclusion too fast, because the important is the story. And when you understand the story, and when you understand that there is also a story during that action and after that action, you will be able maybe to put the dots on the paper and start drawing the picture, but not before that. And this is also a common mistake that we usually do, to connect the dots that are not completed. So you are supposing and jumping to conclusion too fast, too early. And because of that, because of your hurry to jump to conclusions, because you need the solution right here, right now, in this very moment, you are probably creating the wrong assumptions, the wrong conclusions, and the wrong solution.
Yeah, I guess this is how we are wired, right? It's like our brain is a computer. You've seen the pattern. This is what happens all the time. And that's why we are stuck actually in the circles or cycles we are stuck in, right? Because of this. But you need to be open, and you need to experience different things, I guess, and hear different opinions. And that's why I guess we are here as well, right? Because this topic is so deep and people are so conditioned. And I think if you never went through that, you don't really know how you will react, right? And I had one sentence when my father died. I had one sentence that actually saved, I guess, my sanity, right? But yeah, so let's talk about that later. But yeah, we are just
No,
wired.
you can tell that now if you feel like.
So when it was 10 years ago, yes, 10 years ago, when my father died, the thing that kept me going was it is better for him right now, right? So that's for sure. And the second one was, grief is actually, we are feeling sorry for ourselves, right? And there is a hole that has been created by the passing. And that's egoistic, right? Feeling sorry for myself instead of being happy for him to get where he wanted to be.
So that's a very good aspect of it, and maybe we can talk about it later or now, because it is important. So when you say you feel that something is gonna happen, your system we know that we study and are able to experience and willing to experience all of this beyond the physicality of the material self, we know that we are made of different layers. So we have, of course, a survival self. And it is very much connected with the biology. So the material self, the physical self that is here in matter and not in an energetic form. And of course, the survival self, especially when you're talking about people biologically related to you, like parents or relatives or maybe children or anyone really, of course, the survival self gets triggered because he knows I don't know, it knows that something is gonna happen. Because, of course, biologically speaking, let's talk about our fathers, for example. So, biologically speaking, of course, we are, let's say, more or less half made of our father's DNA. So that part of the DNA that is also in our biology is connected to the survival self of our parent. Okay? So if the parent is dying, if the parent has decided that he wants to die, or is planning to die, or is preparing and studying the best way of dying. So all of these kind of things and feelings and thoughts are, of course, recorded in the survival self. They get picked up by the survival self, and the survival self says, no, 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 there is something wrong going on here, because the survival self is the one that is supposed to keep you alive. So, of course, there is a disconnection in programming and in beliefs. So, you, as a daughter, in our case, you get the sense of it, even if you don't consciously know what is going to happen. Your subconscious, your other bodies, all the layers that we have, the energetic DNA, anything really, they know it. Maybe you are not able to see it yet with your physical eyes, but the rest of your system knows it very well. And it's interesting because it is also the reason why, for me, it was very, very difficult, like even physically challenging, to be close to my father all the time, especially from the time where he definitely made his choice in his mind that he wanted to die and not continue to live. So he definitely made the choice of killing himself and studying and preparing for that rather than choosing to go on. So he took the other timeline probably in that moment. It was not a surprise, because the reason why I was picking him up from the psychiatric department in Italy was that he already tried to kill himself in May when he was sent to a hospital. So he decided to kill himself. He didn't manage to at the time, but he did that. So the intention was the same. So he did that at the beginning of May. And luckily, I would say that was not really his timeline yet, because instead of doing that in that environment, which is quite, let's say, dry in terms of love, he did in here, surrounded by a totally different kind of atmosphere. So he did it with the unicorns, with the stars, with the hearts, surrounded by the love of the place, by the love of the people. Also the fun, because as I was telling you, the night before we were celebrating his birthday. So he was definitely happy and laughing, and he was drinking, and he was drinking prosecco or cava, I don't remember which one of the two, maybe both, and having his favorite cake, which is tiramisu. And I remember, and we have a lot of witnesses for that, that he was actually going to the girls of the restaurant, which of course are our friends, and he was telling them, well, I really hope this is the last time I'm seeing you. So Agnes, don't be mute, because I want to hear your reactions to this. So
Wow.
he
Yeah.
was actually telling telling them this, and he went for a walk with another girl who is a friend of mine, who has a lovely dog, and my father, he loves dogs. So I was like, okay, while we are waiting for the cake, just go and have a walk with my friend and the dog, because you like the dog, so you can walk the dog on the beach and blah blah blah. And then this friend of mine told me that in this very long walk, uh, he was telling her a lot of things about life and death, and that he didn't want to stay on this plane anymore, because he decided that and he felt that for him, in this incarnation, meaning in that specific body, which we can see as a metaphor of a dress, for your soul. The body can be, the body is amazing. It is a miracle. It is one of the smartest thing we could possibly deal with. But we can also see it as a sort of dress for the soul. So he decided that he didn't want to move on in this incarnation with that body. And this also is a sort of conditioning that he has always had about physical shape and looking good and young and blah blah blah. And by the way, he was 81, but he really looked like he was at least 20 years younger than that. And by the way, when he died, he looked even younger than that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the beauty that we were talking about at the beginning. So he was saying to all these people, I just want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't feel like being here anymore in this body, in this dress. It was like he didn't really believe anymore that it was really possible for him to make the magic that he really wanted on his body, to reach the point that he had in his mind as final objective of the appearance, the physical appearance that he wanted to be in. Although at some point he was able to believe in that. And that was the point, the moment in between, let's say, June and July, where he was really feeling good. I have a lot of pictures of him like emerging from this very difficult state he was in when I picked him up from the psychiatric department. We will talk about that later. But just a few words to give you the idea. When I went there, I had not seen my father for 2 or 3 weeks maximum. And I have all the pictures, so I can show the pictures to anybody. Okay, so it's not just something that I am talking about. No, I have all the pictures. So I didn't leave my father in the state I picked him up from the hospital department. And when we arrived in Ibiza, I still don't know how, because that was really a miracle. Can you imagine picking up somebody from the psychiatric department and then go directly to the airport and then on the flight to Ibiza? So it took it.
You're great with miracles, so I'm not not even a little bit surprised. You did even better back in the days. I remember when we had the lockdowns and stuff. So
Thank you for that.
You are the miracle.
Oh, thank you. You too, by the way. Yeah. So that was really an effort that I'm not even able to describe, because this is also another thing I want people to understand. not everything can be described by a logical, rational mind or by language. This is why it's so important for everybody to connect with their feelings. If you don't connect with your feelings, even if they are scary or painful at the beginning, you will never be able to experience a reality that is beyond this plane of existence. So this is why it's so important, and we talk so much about feelings, emotions, seeing with the mind, using your psychic powers, expanding your intuition, expanding your heart, because these are the tools for you to live, feel, and create the life that you really want. If you just use your rational brain, your logic, your language, what you can process in a rational way, you are limiting yourself so much that you can only see and live what a very small part of your system is able to see and experience and live. And by the way, that could be so easily be manipulated by anyone that may not even be the truth. And this is the message I really want to get to the people out there. So we are not doing all these videos, all this conversation just because we like it and we love it. Yes, we do it because of that. We really enjoy it. So I know it may seem a sort of morbid thing to do, but it's not. It's just experiencing all the layers beyond the conditionings of the mind. And this is why we share it with you out there, because if we are able to do it, and if we are able to do it in this kind of situations, everybody else can do the same. So the other thing is, before we move on, the other thing is stop believing that just a small amount of people could see or could do metaphysical things, or you need to be special in order to do or see or experience magic, or we call it magic, but we know it's not, or use your unknown psychic powers. No, everybody can do that, because the human being is such an amazing creature that has the sparkle of the divine inside, and is not only inside, but it it spreads to all the layers that we are made of, and it goes outside as well, and inwards as well, in all the cells, in all the molecules, in all the atoms. And actually, it also comes from those molecules, from all those atoms. So it's a connection, it's both ways. And this is also why I love these energetic, spiritual things that we do, regardless of the technique you want to use, because they are just some techniques that help you, let's say, unlock these connections that we all have. But it's just a technique. It's just learning to ride the bicycle in a certain way rather than another way. But the thing is not the technique you use to learn how to ride the bicycle, but is riding the bicycle. So it doesn't matter the way that you do it, and you can use also different tools, different instruments, different techniques to get there. But the important thing is you get there, so from that state, you can experience and create a new reality for you. And there is no limit to that. You can always move forward and forward and forward. So the
Right.
message that is
Yeah.
important is everybody can do that. The thing is, nobody usually teaches us how to do it. So we have to learn by ourselves. And this is also connecting to, you know, the life purpose that we have, which is share these kind of things and experiences with people beyond the criticism, beyond the judgment, beyond the fear of being exposed and whatever it happens. Who cares? We are not afraid. How can you be afraid of something when you know you are connected with the divine power? I mean, there is nothing more powerful than that.
Right. Correct.
And that power is also unbalanced towards the good stuff. So there is no need to be afraid of anything. At the same time, of course, we are humans, so we have our fears, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and the interpretation, right? Whatever happens and how we interpret it and how we think it will cause our future or whatever comes after this actually happens. But if you are focused on the magic, right, on the synchronicities, on the things that are actually good, then you will see more and more. And I've seen my Margarita actually back in the days myself, how you were like, even it's like, oh my gosh, this has just happened. And I'm like, of course it happened to you, right? It's like, of course, synchronicities, of course you manifested this and that, right? Because you are just so filled with light and have this outlook on the world where I'm just like, oh my God, I want that too. You know, I'm maybe a couple of steps behind you, and maybe you are, who are listening, maybe you are just a couple of steps behind me, right? Because you never connected to the light, because you never thought that you know, seeing 111s on a screen or everywhere around you is actually could be the sign. But from the moment you listen to these conversations and you are led to conversations like this, right, you have that little glimpse what you can follow, and then end up having experiences like Margarita had, that I don't even know how we got there, but we got there and everything is fabulous and everything turned out the way how we wanted.
Yeah. So back to the question that I guess is a spontaneous question in the mind of everyone. They say, yeah, but then he killed himself. Okay, yes, he did, apparently. Because here we can also talk about what death really means. Do you really think is the end of the life? Do you believe that we are immortal? Do you think we are eternal? Do you think, what do you think? What are your beliefs about death? What are your beliefs about life? Because actually they are the same. So the same beliefs you have about death, they are probably the beliefs you have about life. So do you see your life and your life potential as limited or not? Because I wanted to tell you that yeah, it was a very um, challenging time for me to have my father here, especially at the beginning, because I had to, as I was telling you, I had to help him recover from that hospital experience. And I cannot even describe how hard that was, but I will just tell you about a couple of episodes. So, he stayed in the psychiatric department, I think, for not more than 1 week, so not very long time. And my brother was there for the for the first 2 days, and then I was there until I was able to actually picking up and bring it here. So it was not really alone, but still that department is such a desert of feelings that I remember when I was walking into into that space, which, by the way, feels much worse than a prison. And when you ask yourself, it feels much worse than a prison, but why am I here? And also, why are all these people here? What did they do to being judged by a health authority to be put in this prison? What did they do? What did they do, really?
Yeah, so let's start there, right? I guess we are grateful for Western medicine to a point, and people who are working there, right? Because I think I couldn't do that. I even told my mother, it's like I won't be able to take care of you. It's like I'm not built for that. I think maybe when the situation is there, then I will say differently. But I feel like that those places are so soulless, because the people who are working there needs to protect themselves, and they don't have better ways to do so, and they are doing their job day in and day out, but dealing with all the, I guess, even the rules and the things that come from professionally, and the things that comes within, and they maybe don't even have the coping mechanism for that, because they haven't been taught. So it's a funny mix, I guess, because it's really, I couldn't do that, and we appreciate that, but on the other hand, it's not the way to live, to be, to do your days. It's heartless for sure.
So let me tell you a little bit about that, because I think it's important also, because I come from this kind of medicine and science. I worked for a long time in pharmaceutical business. You know how difficult and how long it was for me to heal myself from the pain and the guilt of having worked in that kind of environment, because of course while I was there, I was part of that system, so I was bringing it forward, even though I was not completely conscious about that. But in the end, on a daily basis, that what was I was doing.
Yeah, but you didn't go there to be the villain, right? You went there because you thought you're doing something good.
Yeah, and I believe, because that was my intention, as you said, I believe most of the people working as doctors, as health operators, and in this kind of environments, they really have a good intention, because they really believe what they are doing is the right thing in their mind, with their mindsets and beliefs and structures. They really believe that is the best they can do for themselves and other people. With that,
with that set.
belief set, okay.
Yeah.
So the pain comes when you go beyond that, so the quantum jump to the next energy level, and you ask yourself, is this what I'm doing? The thing that I'm doing today, is it really the highest and best I could possibly do? You know, my mother was a very good teacher about that. We remember the stories. We remember the stories about using theta healing to heal all the physical pain that she has that not even morphine could heal. And apart from the result in removing the pain, what is really significant was the discovery of what was really the cause of the pain, which was not the disease, which was not even the physical surgeries and procedures that she had, but it was the lack of humanity of the people dealing with her in hospitals. I remember very painful spots on her body going away instantly just by removing the pain and the emotion stuck in the body or in the bodies, because we have different layers, as we say, because of the cruelty of some words that were sent to her by doctors, by nurses, by people, sometimes even by myself. So that's why at the beginning I was telling you, you need a lot of courage to see with your physical eyes, to feel with your soul, to feel with your heart. Because yeah, you in this process of really seeing and feeling, you will find painful things about yourself as well. A lot of them. So imagine also when I was doing that with my mother, also the guilt on the back of my system that was coming up to see, okay, I was not in that state. I was a few levels behind, let's say, and maybe I said that. And maybe I was working exactly on that thing that let's say, I don't know, I'm just making it up. Let's say a genetic testing that is diagnosing you with maybe the possibility that in a future you could develop a disease that maybe you can possibly cure or prevent today. Well, I understand the good intention behind that. So preventing the disease and the pain to develop in the future. So preventing a level of suffering. But how much suffering are you causing in the here and now to that person by saying that, oh yes, you have that genetic mutation or whatever it is, and this feels actually like a psychic attacks to a person that is receiving what you are saying. A lot of doctors, they don't understand that. A lot of doctors are just not even, I mean, you know that in Theta Healing we do a lot of energy scanning to check and to see and to understand intuitively what is going on with that person. And then you express yourself with the help of the creator and the energy of the unconditional love in the highest and best way, because you know the power of all of this. How many doctors, how many nurses, how many people out there, every single minute of every day in their life, they don't care about the way they communicate. They don't care about the words that they are using. They don't care because they don't know. They just ignore the effect of these energies, because words, language, thought, even the sound of your voice, even the body posture, even the the look in your eye are communicating energetically to that person receiving your message what the message is really about.
Mm.
So when a doctor says to you, oh yeah, of course, you have this and okay, you just need to go for this kind of treatment and blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
Okay, they are the authority, right? It's like you listen and you feel that something is not right, but hey, they might need to know better than I do.
so that's a good point. So apart from the shock of your systems receiving this diagnosis, which is a psychic attack, not even to mention the time when you have to wait for that diagnosis. And usually people wait in fear because they know that
Something is
they
not
will
right.
they will get something. Come on. I mean, I know very few people that are so strong and centered and so sure that they are super powerful, regardless of whatever it happens. But so I know some people like that, but very few. And these kind of people, they can face any kind of attack and they will be fine. I mean, of course, they are still receiving the attack. So don't think that because they are in this energy frequency, they don't receive the attack. They still receive it, but they know how to, clear it.
Mm-hmm.
So you still receive the hurt. Sometimes when I ask people, even when I ask my father, okay, why are you doing this to me? When he was telling me, because he was telling me, I really want to die. How can I do it? And I'm like, well, uh, I have no idea, but it's a conversation between you, your layers, your soul, the creator, the proper timing. So, I mean, it's really a private conversation between you and your system. The only thing that I can tell you is if that's your intention, if that's your choice, if that's what you really want, when the time is right for you, you will manage to do it. Until that moment, you can still try, you can still tell me what you want to do, but you will not be able to succeed in that intention.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also a conversation that we had in the last 2 weeks. So the thing was not a surprise. I knew he was studying and planning to do that because he told me. And at the beginning, I was very angry with that because that was my survival self reacting to no, 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 you're not going to do that. No, it's not possible. And you're not going to do it here with my
Of course.
unicorns and my hearts and my stars. And then I realized, okay, who is really talking? And I realized that was my survival self. And I then switched and asked myself, okay, so what is my heart really saying? And my heart,
Let me add
yeah.
that we are not encouraging anyone
No, of course.
to do it. It's just a conversation, that our take on the issue. So yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and it's just the reality. So it's just the reality of the timeline he decided to go through. So of course it was not the timeline I was manifesting. But it
Yeah,
was his. So we can also bring together the topic of free will,
yes.
So when I was saying to you, that was my survival self, that was my mind, that was blah, 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 which is normal. But what was my heart saying? So when I connected with my heart was saying, that is what your father really wants. He is always telling you that he loves you. He is always, I also have it in writing, because actually, when he did it in the hospital and I was able then to talk to him, I was asking him, why did you do that? And he was, yeah, because I couldn't see no future, because they would have probably sent me to, the health system is probably sending me to these kind of
Even worse
institutions, or blah,
places,
blah,
yeah.
blah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so in my mind, that was the movie that I was making for
Mhm.
myself. So I decided that I didn't want to go there and did that. And then I said, okay, I totally understand you, because, uh, of course, from a human perspective, uh, it's totally understandable. And I'm actually with you in this togetherness regarding the future prospect. And by the way, I didn't know all of these things. So, okay, it was happening so fast that I didn't know what was really going on, and who was making, all these arrangements. And it's still a little bit unclear, and I will find out at some point, but that's not even important anymore. The important things are the conversation that I had with my father. So
So he
he
wrote it
said,
down that he loves you, and then
yeah, he loves you, and he was thanking me for all the love that I was showing him and expressing to him. And I said, Papa is the same, of course, for me to you. And no, I was telling you that because when he did that, I was a bit, so I was totally understanding him from a human perspective. But at the same time, I was feeling a little bit angry because he didn't say anything to me. So of course, that was also a planned action, not coming out of the blue, because in order for you to do all these things, you need to study a lot. Isn't it?
yeah.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I had this experience where I needed to sit on the other end of the telephone and not knowing if I get that call again or not. And it's
Exactly.
really, it is really hard, but also I got also to the point where I just get it. I just get it. And if you are in your right mind, and if you are in the, I think it's just human to really be able to go when you want to go and how you
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah. So at that time, I was a bit angry with him, and I told him, because I said, okay, but you decided to go without even saying goodbye, not even sending me a message, like, nothing. Um, and that's when he was here, like a couple of weeks before he actually did, he was writing that, he was drawing that heart on the paper, saying, oh, I love you so much, thank you for loving me so much as well, and blah blah. So I was like, okay, so now he got the message and is telling me. Of course, on the other side, inside of myself, I was like, of course, it must be very hard for somebody who wants to do these kind of things to write a note just before doing it, because maybe they will not have the courage to actually manage to do it. So I was like, okay, so it's been a bit selfish of myself to want that. But it was nice because we were telling each other these things, and so I understood him. So at some point, I was not angry anymore when you were saying all these things, because with my heart, I was just accepting it. I was just knowing that at some point, I didn't know when, of course I didn't know when, but I knew that at some point, according to his timelines and his, divine timings and whatever it is, I could have seen that kind of picture that I saw in the end. In the meantime, so let's say, I was willing on all the levels to allow that to happen in order for me to respect and accept his free will with unconditional love, without criticism, without judgment. Although it was, of course, very, very difficult for me, very challenging for me. And for all my systems who were like, no, 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 the survival self is
the
always,
ego,
yeah,
the human in you,
yeah.
of course.
So
The thought.
you have to deal with all of these layers as well.
By the way, a normal person just deals with the ego and that's it, right? And I guess that's your magic, or that's the higher levels magic, right? Where you somewhere you understand, somewhere you accept, somewhere you know that this is not forever, but still you need to deal with your emotions, with the consequences, with life and with other people, right? And bureaucracy, and not even mention, right, the things crazy.
Yeah. And I remember when, so at some point I told him basically, okay, I accept that
This is your wish.
this is your wish, so I accept that I prepare myself, sort of, because you are never fully
Because you
prepared to
want.
see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what you have to do with your heart. And so I was able to create a sort of space that was accepting and welcoming this kind of expression of his free will. So much so that when I walked into the flat and I actually, before I saw the scene, because it happened in a place that when you enter the flat, you cannot immediately see, because the doors open to the left. So the scene was on the left, beyond the door, behind door. And I totally remember that day. So I was out all day long. I was texting my father after lunchtime saying, okay, I'm just doing this and that. I will see you later around 7 or something. So if you need anything, just let me know. He never saw that message. He never replied, of course, because he was already gone, sort of gone. Maybe gone, but still here. I mean,
Okay, yeah, so he was gone, yeah.
Gone in our vision.
Gone from the body, yeah.
Yeah. And on that day, I remember, I even had a massage. So I went for a massage before coming home, and with a very intuitive woman that I really like. And she always picks up things and blah, blah, blah. And on that day, myself, I didn't have any kind of, let's say, alarm reaction from my intuition. I had this kind of alerts before in other situation when I managed to, get the feeling that something was happening. But
Mm-hmm.
on the day, no feelings, nothing. Meaning that that was the right time, and he had not to be interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So I had things to do all day long, even the massage in the evening. So after the massage, I was asking this lady, so did you pick up anything? How did you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was actually feeling relaxed. It was a very stressful time for me. And I explained also because all these subtle bodies feel what's gonna happen. So it's always triggering you in the survival mode. So even the biological response of your body is being in alert, producing all the stress hormones, and so that's why I was feeling a lot of fatigue in the last month. I was feeling very, very heavy, very stressed, because all of these things were happening. Maybe we are not aware because we don't know all of these things, but they are happening anyways. So yeah. So your body embodies no. So when I asked her, okay, because I was actually feeling very, very relaxed today, and she said, yeah, when I was massaging you, I was feeling all this sense of peace and calm. So you're doing good, great.
Mm-hmm.
And also she asked me, how is your father doing? Have you seen him today? And I'm like, no, not even heard from him. I'm just going and see him right now. Um, and so I was like, okay, cool. Um, and so it was also funny that she was asking about my father, and she was telling me of all these peaceful emotions that she was picking up from the body.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, just before going home, I was stopping by a candle shop because I had to buy 2 candles. So I did, and then I went home. So the moment that I was opening the door,
Mm-hmm.
um, when you are not seeing anything with these eyes, but actually your system has already seen what happened. So that was really the weirdest moment ever. So I was opening the door. In front of me, there is like a sort of small cupboard where you leave the keys and the things. So the cell phone of my father was there, the keys were there, so he was home, definitely home.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so the door opened on the to the left. So
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the right to see if he
Mm-hmm.
was as usual in the other room waiting for me. No, nobody was there. No noise, nothing. It was completely silent. And then I had to finish opening the door. And that was the weirdest moment ever because in my brain all these things were happening already. So I was like shaking, feeling all these things. It's very difficult for me to explain using a language because it's all about the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always say, don't expect to understand the world by a description with a language because it's impossible. It's about feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only feel the feelings and live the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So with feelings going on, uh, and when I opened the door fully and completely, I saw the scene, and I remember you probably know the heart song in Theta Healing. It's a sort of also therapeutic exercise that you do when you make noise, when you sing from a very deep place within you, well, that was the deepest heart song I could have ever done. So I remember, yeah, crying, but also screaming, taking out so deep emotions inside of myself, that it was such a deep place inside of myself that I had never felt before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know the existence
Sit
of that
there.
place inside of
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was about 3 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I have no idea. Maybe even less than that. But it was so intense and strong that I was like, my God, what is coming out from here? I have no idea. No idea. I cannot describe it. I cannot. And in the meantime, I remember the neighbor coming in
Mhm.
because I was so loud,
Yeah.
and in shocked, of course, because you can be prepared, but you know,
You come. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a shocking view at the very beginning.
Of course it is.
And why it is a very shocking view at the beginning? Because there is the survival self that has this, let's say, programming, this algorithm of this sort of reaction against this image of death and not life, that of course the survival self is not able to accept it, so
Mhm.
it is rejecting it.
Mm.
But then, when I was able to go beyond the initial reaction of the survival self, I was actually, and here comes the weird part, I was actually able to see and hear my father just on
No.
the yeah. I mean, that's the juicy part, Agnes. I know it took a lot to come to this place, but now is the juicy part. And I'm so sorry for keeping you all this time
I love it.
into this narrative, but I mean, it takes the time that it takes. So I was actually able to look at this image in front of me, which was let me say this, but you know the way I'm saying this. It was such a perfect picture of a perfect alignment that my father was able to reach through this choice, that I could really see and feel the beauty of the thing that he was able to make, because I was looking at this image and appreciating the perfection of the action, like totally perfect, symmetrical in front of me. So perfectly, you know, in front of the let's say audience. And also a lot of symbols, because you know, it was surrounded by the unicorn, the stars, the heart. So even the choreography of all these things was beautiful. It's like, I remember asking myself, how could you possibly do something so perfect?
Oh.
That was the moment that I was able to see and hear my father, let's say it was on the left side of his body, over the left shoulder, telling me, I swear to you, I swear to you, telling me, you know, you can imagine like a child, like a toddler, being so happy and doing like that. can you see how good I've been to do and create all of that? And I was like,
Oh my God, I love it. It's like, yes, Dad, well done.
exactly. And to add on top
Wow.
of this, just remember that because of the circumstances,
Mm.
I was surrounded by the police. By the
Oh.
police and all these people coming and going because they had to do all the
Okay, so it
examination.
wasn't in the first 10 minutes. It was already a
It
little
was
bit later
later,
by
yeah. Well, they arrived very, very soon, of course, because the neighbor called them
Oh,
immediately,
okay.
so they were there in a few minutes. And also in the few minutes, I still had to overcome
At the shop.
my
Yeah.
emotions and
Yeah, of
feelings
course.
and shock. But then I was looking at this and I was like, okay, I am sure, because also I was asking myself, I'm sure there are so many messages for me to get from this moment that I need to get them.
Take it in.
Yeah, take it in. I need to get them. Probably I will process them later, but I need to get them
Mm.
before all these people, change the things and blah, blah, blah. I need to get them. So in that moment, I saw my father say, can you see? Can you see how good I was to make
Great.
all of that? And I was like,
What else?
yes. I mean, still, I'm not so okay with the thing.
I'm still not appreciating it, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
not fully and
Noted.
completely,
Noted.
but getting there at some point. But
Mm.
yeah, please show me. And I really had the feeling that he wanted to show me all the details. And I was like, no, 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 no. At this very moment,
Noted. Yeah.
I'm not prepared for this. But I know someday I will. So just, send me the information or connect me to the information. And at some point I will unzip the file, let's say.
Yeah, it's like process it properly. Yeah.
But the thing is, at some point after the police did all the things they had to do, we were still waiting for other people to come and to move on with the process. And so I decided to take a chair and to sit just in front of him, and to look really at the scene. I lit up a candle. Remember that I was stopping by the shop, so the system knows.
Important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And I was like, okay, I'm not afraid. I was afraid, yeah. I mean, not afraid, but I was really scared. I mean, all these scary feelings and shocking feelings, of course, at the beginning I had them. But now, in that moment, I said, okay, I'm not scared anymore. And actually, if I am able now to look at this image without those initial feelings and those initial fears, I can see the beauty of 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 what happened, because you were able to do exactly what you were trying to do for so long. You were able to make it surrounded by love and not in a dry environment with people judging you, with people trying to save you when actually you didn't want to be saved. Because if you want to kill yourself, you don't want to be saved. And by the way, this gives me the opportunity to add another thing. When I walked in and I saw the scene, probably it was like a millisecond in my mind, but it felt like a conversation between myself, lasting for hours, about, okay, but is he really dead? Is he still alive? Do
Oh,
I
yeah.
need to do I need to do something? Do I need to save him? Do I need to call the ambulance? Do I need to touch him? Do I need to what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Because in that moment, what do you do?
I don't know. I have no idea. Never thought
It-
about it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Neither me.
Either you,
Yeah. So a conversation that was like 1 millisecond in this timeline, but in my head it was like a sort of debate for minutes and minutes and minutes with all the layers of myself. And at some point I asked myself, okay, so remember that you didn't get from your intuition system any sign that this was really happening. So, meaning that you were not supposed to stop him. Because, of course, I could have walked in the flat even earlier in the day, or I could have just received the feeling telling me, go on and check on him, you know? No, didn't receive it. I walked in, it was so I had the massage until 7 p.m. So it was, let's say, 7:15, something like that. So all day was passing by. So you didn't get any alert from your system, meaning that it was supposed to happen. Okay. Second, if he managed to have the courage to do it, and he managed to do it because it was his timing, the last thing you want to do is interfere with this. Because you would do to him the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, he came to peace, and then you,
And also, I had these feelings of everything seems very calm and peaceful, apart from my initial reaction, but everything else seems so, you know, beautifully light and in harmony. Even the image, that's why I decided to sit in front of him and feel and experience this very new sense of harmony, peace, and alignment. And that was the time I was really getting the feeling that now his soul, his body, the earth and the sky are fully in alignment, even for him. So before that, he was not really able to experience these feelings of alignment and harmony. And that was the reason why he wanted to go home. Because he was not able to reach that alignment or to be so trusting in the fact that that alignment was definitely reachable for him as well in this incarnation, with this body, with this life, but he didn't have that much trust.
Yeah, and even if I think about it, it's like it is beautiful that you were able to get him out of that, and it is beautiful that he had these experiences, right? It's like he had a fulfilling life, I assume, right? He had 2 grown successful children, he had a marriage, so on and so forth, right? So it's like I guess at the end of the day, this is how we all want to go, right? In peace, surrounded with loved ones. And we have a saying here in Hungary. It's something like, I want to die in the bed, surrounded with pillows and stuff, right? So that fluffy, warm feeling, how everyone imagines a good death or a good passing. And it's just, I guess, beautiful that you were able to give him that.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because it actually gives me the chance to remind to myself and maybe other people who need to hear that that this was exactly the one that you mentioned, is exactly the way that my mother passed away, like
Oh,
in
okay.
the sleeping in her bed with no medication, no medication at all, while she was sleeping, and I was sleeping next to her. And so
You really got that. Oh my God.
yeah, I told you, well, I told you even years before
Yeah,
that
but I didn't
that
realize that you were actually sleeping in the same bed.
yeah. I was the only person, let's say, who probably
Yeah, yeah,
could and was willing to be there, in even be there, like physically be there for
yeah,
both my parents,
yeah.
ev- evidently. So she was in this fluffy kind of environment, and so soft and smooth. And for my father, it was the same, because he was surrounded by all these balloons, you see them, by all these things. And actually, the funny thing was that I was noticing a couple of weeks before he did that the unicorn balloon was deflating a little bit. The only one, because the other ones have been inflated by a very good friend of mine in April.
Wow. Okay.
In April. So look how they are today, October. So she inflated them in April. The unicorn as well, and was as, inflated as the other one. So just a couple of weeks before that happened, so I would say when he really decided to go for that timeline, the unicorn started deflating a little bit, because he was actually a helper of the process energetically. And I remember the evening before that we were celebrating the birthday, that when we were going to the restaurant, he told me, yeah, okay, we are now going to celebrate and have and to have this dinner with all the friends and blah blah blah. But remember that I cannot be there too long. At some point I have to go. And I said, where do you have to go? I mean, where do you have to go? And then I understood that it was meaning I have to go. So I cannot stay much longer than the dinner, because it happened the morning after. And also another friend of mine at the restaurant, he told me, yeah, of course, he is also very intuitive and very connected. And he told me, yeah, of course, you could see that he was physically there on the chair, celebrating, drinking, eating the cake, blowing the candles. By the way, the only candle that was falling on the cake was the one with the same color of the t-shirt that my father was wearing that night. I have all the pictures, so I have all the pictures, everybody can see them. And he told me, yeah, he was there, but he was not really there anymore. He told me I could feel, what did he say? His skin was actually itching. It was like it was burning. I mean, it was not comfortable in the skin anymore.
Wow. And
And
even the expression, right? You're not comfortable in your skin. It's like there are so many language, it must come from somewhere. Wow. Okay.
yeah, and when I could see or start to see the full picture beyond all of the appearances, I was looking at him, and I would say, it's so weird because really last night he wanted so strongly to bring home the leftover of the cake because he loved it so much. So he was really like, just put it in the fridge because I have to take it home. I have to take it home. It has to come with me. It's so good. It's so good. And then of course he left it in the fridge and not even had it for breakfast. And the other funny thing is that he was hanging his clothes to the hanger in the bedroom, like super precisely, like as he was wearing them the day after, you know, as you do, like you don't want them to become too messy. And when I was looking at the body in front of me, it felt like a properly hanged dress on the hanger.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay,
That's weird.
that's because it was like that. And the other funny thing, funny, a bit scary, and a bit
Yeah. Not funny, haha. Yeah.
wonderful at the same time, was when all the people that had to come and do the things that they need to do finally came. They finally put him on the floor,
Okay.
lying on the floor. And when he was actually lying on the floor, he was looking great, like somebody who is lying on the sand, catching the sun, totally relaxed. And I was like, okay, these things are becoming more amazing as the time is passing by. Instead of becoming, you know,
Scary or icky or
exactly, thank you for that. It was becoming more wonderful and amazing. And I was like, okay. And I was finally able to touch him because I could not touch him before. Okay.
I
So
don't know
I
if I
actually,
would want to. I don't know if I would want to. Do you want it to?
yeah, of course.
Okay.
Um, but you know, I have a special relationship with these things. So, you know.
Yeah. And I'm coming from my scared ego, right? It's like there is no alignment here by these topics. I'm just
And so I was touching him and caressing him on the arm, the right arm. And when I was touching him, I was so shocked in a weird, good way because he was super, super soft. So, of course, he was clearly dead. And remember also that a few hours had
Yeah,
passed
half
by.
day, yeah, at
And,
least.
and I remember, for example, with my mother, she became very rigid and stiff after a couple of hours or something, or I don't remember now, but you know, not a very long time. And with him, no, it was super soft. When I was touching it, I was like, I was not expecting that. So I was like, okay, like you know, a dissonance in my brain, in the touch, feeling, and what? And the muscles, the connective tissues in the arm were so soft that they were feeling even softer than when he was alive. Because when he was alive, you could feel, even when I was touching him, that you know, when your muscles are very tense, very, you know, you're not super super relaxed. Yeah, yeah, you are very tense, and also your muscles are hard. So I remember that feeling. And in that moment, I was touching it, and it was like soft like a baby. And I was like, okay, I have no idea what's happening here. And I remember when I touched him with my hand, another conversation started, 1 millisecond of conversation here, but like hours of conversation in my mind. I was like, okay, but it doesn't look really a dead person. He actually looks more relaxed than when he was alive, like yesterday. And even, the muscle of the face were so soft that he looked even younger than the day before, when he had all the wrinkles around the eyes, and also that's a funny story, how the face was changing, and I have a few pictures reporting that. So one picture taken after the other, when he was blowing the candles, you can see the face transforming.
Wow.
Even the light in the pictures changes. Yeah. So, but let's come back to that another time.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So in that moment, when I was touching him, I was feeling like he could get back to life anytime.
Oh.
And I remember feeling and thinking, no, because as we previously said, even if maybe in my hands, in the communication between my body and his body, or energy fields, or whatever it is, there is the power to bring him alive again, I don't want to do it, because I know that it was his will, so much so that, again, even if I could do that, I don't want to do it. And I remember I asked the creator not to do it, just in case it could be possible for any reason. But I was like, don't do that, because really it could be the worst thing I could do to him. So
it's like, let's respect his decision.
But believe me, that was, I think, the weirdest moment in my life. And also being surrounded by all these people who were looking at this scene, and they
were on different timelines, right? Like, as you mentioned, right? They are just doing their job. You went through all of this and felt it energetically and taken in, and they were just buzzing there, I guess, and doing their thing.
But at the same time, they were so respectful that they were ready to pick him and bring it out, but they were so respectful of all these moments, that they were actually holding the space for these kind of things, like they were really able to feel it. And I remember when I was having this conversation, saying, no, this would be the worst possible thing I could ever do to him. I then distanced myself, so I just caressed him for the last time, and I said, okay, so that's this is it. And then these people came in, and they say, can we
bring him,
pick him up, take him, and I said, yes, now you can. And but it was
peaceful as it sounds, or
and yeah, everything was so peaceful and weird at the same time and wonderful at the same time. And even in the days after, it became more amazing because, yes, of course, a lot of friends of mine um, were informed by me on that evening of what happened. Some other maybe the day after, and step by step. But until we published the let's say the news on the Italian paper, local paper, basically only a few people knew. So I remember that a very good friend of mine, who is also a psychic, a psychotherapist, she was also helping my father for a long time. So she was also her therapist for a while, and also a trusted person who he was referring to if he needed to talk. And she also does meditation and a lot of things. I mean, she's an amazing woman, really. She has done so many things, even scarier than this. So she sent me a voice note, and she didn't know that my father was dead. And she sent me a note, a message, a voice message one morning saying, well, it's been a while since I've heard from you, of you, or of your father. I have no idea what's going on. But I wanted to tell you that this morning I was meditating in a theta state, and actually your father came to me, and I saw him so bright and full of light, and that I didn't know what was gonna happen. And she told me like that because, of course, we know that when you see somebody in this so full of light state, it means that it's in between different realities, okay? But she didn't want to say it because she didn't know if he was still there, if he was not here anymore. She didn't know. So she didn't want to tell me explicitly. So she told me, okay, I saw him in this very bright light, and he came to me and he said that he was so happy, and he was so such in a peaceful mode and in such a peaceful and calm energy, and he was just saying hello to me, and he was also thanking me for all the things that we did together. And he also told me that you prepared him very well, and he's so happy right now. And so she was like, I am sending you this voice message because I don't really understand what's going on in reality. So please, when you hear this message, call me back and let me know what's happening. And then when I was listening to this message, I was laughing, and I called her back and I said, well, what you saw is really what it is, because my father died, in theory, died on Monday. And I don't remember if it was Friday or something like that. And she said, okay, so now I understand what I saw, what I was feeling, what he was telling me. Okay, so now it makes perfect sense. And it's like so beautiful to see also this kind of confirmation messages coming from other people that don't know anything about that, because not not that we need it, but maybe for the people we share these experiences with, it's good for them to understand that this is something real, even if you don't see it with your physical eyes, because we are not in the physical dimension anymore. But these things happen, and we have like all these witnesses reporting and telling these things. Another friend of mine, a couple of weeks ago, no, maybe 1 month ago already, I don't remember when, but he told me, I was actually dreaming of your father, um, and he was really having fun going around his hometown and talking to tourists and showing them around the city. And then I also have to tell you that I am sure I've seen your father at the seaside place we used to go, and he told me, I'm sure I saw him, not somebody
Mhm.
who was looking alike. I'm sure I saw him.
Mm.
And he told me, I did not go and say hi to him only because you told me he's dead.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would have gone and say hi.
Mhm. Mm.
And I was
Mm.
like, I mean, that's amazing because
Wow.
I know already these things, but maybe for you, it's interesting that you experience yourself these kind of things. Because
Yeah, and
if
be
you,
open. Mhm.
yeah, if you experience these things, it's
Mhm.
not that I am telling you because I want to convince you that that doesn't exist or whatever it is. No, it's just you are so opening up to all these other energies and realities and layers that you can experience it for yourself
And
without me even knowing that.
yeah, and there are so many stories out there. I remember my grandmother, and it brings up the question is like when did they started that we got so shut down? But I remember my grandmother telling me stories. For example, she had a sweetheart back in the days, and the guy was taken obviously to Second World War, and he never came back. But my grandma had a dream, him saying goodbye, and then she got the letter a couple of days later, right, that he passed away. And the similar story when my grandfather died, and the night before, or the afternoon before that, when my mother and grandmother was visiting him in the hospital the last time, right, then he pulled her back and gave her a huge hug. And next day when she went in, obviously the bed was empty already, and my grandmother was like, okay, now I understand, that was his goodbye, right? So we kind of have these experiences, but no one talks about it because they will be ridiculed, or you kind of believe in it and it helps you in the grieving process. But at the end of the day, if you are not open to see the miracles, you will not see the miracles. And I truly believe that this seeing the miracles and being open to it helps in the grieving process as well when it comes to it.
Yes. And actually when you see all these things, you will realize that mm, we
Not
are
that bad.
we
Yeah.
are immortal. We can just decide if we want to, um, let's say, change the dress and come back for the next scene, or if we are so powerful and willing to become so powerful that we don't even have to change the theatrical act to change the dress for the next scene.
Mm.
And this is actually what I think I decided to do in a Theta Healing session that I had some time ago, when I decided to close my death door.
Meaning?
Ah, you don't know the story, no? No, because I made a video about that, but it is in Italian. So
Oh,
of
okay.
course you don't know that story. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah,
So,
of course. What does
oh,
it mean at all?
yeah, and by the way, I just take the chance to really thank all the people, all the healers, all the friends,
Mm,
everyone that was helping me to of course elaborate and move forward from this situation, and to be able to experience all the beautiful things that I have seen and received, and that I still keep on seeing and understanding. With their help, my father's help,
mhm,
and all the entities.
mhm,
So basically, I went to this Theta Healing friend and I said, okay, you have to help me with this thing because on the, let's say, on the material side of this experience, so probably it's connected to my survival self that was shocked at the beginning. You remember we talked about that. Which of course is normal because it's his job to do that. Uh, um, I still have some mm, unresolved emotions that I want to, clear, because I see, I can feel that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when I walked inside my apartment and I opened the door, I still have this back in my mind fear
mm,
or scary thought or
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
of, oh my God, what will be behind the door today? You
mm,
never, what kind of surprise? Because
yeah.
it was like I was expecting a sort of bad surprise to be seen behind the door. And of course, that is the, let's say, lowest part of the self,
Of,
because the highest part of the self, who can see the beauty and the perfection and all the things we talked about, when I am opening the door, is like celebrating
mhm,
what happened. Okay, so two different perspectives. So I said, okay, when I open the door, sometimes I have this feeling that I don't really want to open the door, but I'm scared to see what's beyond that. And so, oh, of course, but yeah, this is because you have this that door open. So you need to decide if you want to keep it closed, keep it open and take it, or you want to close it. And I'm like, okay, just stop. Let's say, hang on for a minute, just not to be off topic. So hang on a minute. And I said, what do you mean? Because of course in Theta Healing we talk about death doors, especially in the advanced class. But one
Okay.
one thing is to talk about it and to maybe do an exercise about that.
Mm.
One thing is when you have really the death door, your death door open in front of you. So what do
What
you
does it
do?
what does it mean? Does it mean that you came across this experience or you okay, so what do you mean by death door?
So let's say, because again, it's not something that is very easy to describe with
Okay.
words. There is a, by the way, there is a door making some noise on the background.
Say hi to
So
dad.
yeah, hello, hi, hello, friends. Maybe they are joining. They are joining the conversation. Uh, yeah, I think so many people and beings are
Mhm.
joining this conversation right now. So it's not super easy to describe, but basically it could be imagined as a gate, a door, a door, uh, for you to experience maybe another layer of reality or to go to another plane. of existence, or to another layer, or all of this is so multidimensional that it's so difficult to explain it in a linear way. I mean,
is it kind of like you are going through that, or is it kind of like other entities coming in?
no. This is you and your death
My
door,
other
meaning that you can decide, and this comes back to the free will and the choice to come to life and also die. Okay, it's our choice. So let's remove also the collective consciousness that say that you don't decide when you are going to be born, and you don't decide when you're gonna die. You definitely do. Okay. You also can decide if you don't want to die. So if you know that you have a death door open, it means that you are allowed in that timing to take it and to live this plane of existence. It was what I was saying to my father, basically. When your time is coming and has come, you can go. So when your death door is open and allows you to go because it is the right timing, you will go if you decided so. If your death door is closed, so is not your time yet to go, you can try as many times as you want. You may hurt yourself, but you will not die. Okay? So this is what it means.
Okay.
To make it short. So this friend sent me, yeah, of course you are, of course. I mean, who doesn't know that? Of course you have this door open in front of you, because it feels like let's say, what happened to your father, what happened with your father is also a completion of a sort of layer of a mission, of a purpose, blah blah blah. So you can now decide if you want to stay in this incarnation and keep moving forward with your visions, with your life purpose, which I totally could envision because I know them already. Or if you want to take them with you, but maybe in another dimension, in another place, in another incarnation, in another form. And I knew that if I would have gone through the door, these missions and these purposes, this vision that I had, they would have come with me. So they would have not have changed, even if I decided to go through that door. Meaning that it's not that by dying your existence is finished. No. It's just a different act of the movie, you know?
I like
Uh,
that. I kind of like that because then you never feel like you missed out on anything.
yes, thank you for saying that, because this is also a big belief, and it is a very limiting belief that people have when they think about death. So you say, oh no, he died, or she, before he or she was able to do this and that.
This and that.
No,
Yeah.
you don't really understand what this is all about. Okay?
Mm.
That's why we need to share these things, to do these videos, to have this conversation, because people don't know anything about these processes. So no, you're not missing out on anything, believe me. And also for some people, it was the same with my mother. She has been so much more helpful from the day that she died, rather than when she was alive, because in that kind of energy and vibration and space, she's able to help me much more strongly than in person. So sometimes people decide to die because, and this is another very important topic, because they know the system, the survival self also agrees with that decision, because it knows that your, let's say, body, physical body, is not able to receive, let's say, the programs updates, like it was, you know, the upgrade of a hardware or a software or an app, is not able to receive the upgrades because maybe it's too tired. It has consumed too much life energy. So you don't have you don't have either enough space or enough energy to be able to process those updates in that incarnation, in that physical body.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say that. I remember when my grandma starting to get old, and she was so frustrated that she couldn't do the things that, you know, her mind wanted to do, right? So she still thought that she is 30 and 40, and she wanted to change the this and that, the light bulb, and so and so. And then after that something happened, right? She falls, she hurt her hand, and even that her hand was broken, she did not actually, you know, wanted to get out of bed and died. So she gave up because, yeah, now that you talk about it, it felt like she was like, yeah, in like this, how I am, I can't really do the things what I came here to do. So let's move on and let's do something else, and let's carry on. Wow.
Yeah, and this connects to another very important topic that I need to put on the table now. Maybe we can get into details later, but this is why it's so important to understand that the conditioning that comes from what the current health system tells you is so wrong and is so programming yourselves and your cells to a program of you cannot do it, you are too old, you are not able to do it, you will never manage without this medication or without this blah blah blah, that you get it in your system as a belief that is taking space and energy in your mind and the subtle bodies, that you cannot clear that and feel it with the new energy and the new upgrades, and you decide that that is the truth for you, rather than trusting that it's possible for you to remove all of the programming and let's say download or be connected to the cloud, which has all the programs, all the information, all the energy that you need. So this is why I think, and I said, my father at some point decided to go for that timeline because he didn't really believe that he could do it. So even though he looked like 20 at least years younger than what he was, and even the autopsy was saying that all the organs internal were perfect, like nothing really. So this is also a heads up to the beautiful doctors and GPs that were supposed to be his doctors, who, by the way, bullied him a lot of times for not taking medications. So I just want to remember you that this is a crime against humanity, okay? So for all the doctors out there, just hear me when I say these things. So he couldn't really go deep into the belief and the trust that it was possible for him to recreate all of this without dying. At some point, he was, as I told you, between June and July, he was in that mode. But then I don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened, but something made him change his perspective of that. And he then decided to go for the timeline he decided to take. We will find out probably why it was the best. But because we always manifest for the highest and best. So probably for some reason that was the best timeline. Okay. We will find out in the next future. Maybe we don't know yet, but we will know. But it's also to say how all these things are connected. And why for me it was so important to detox him from all the medication he was taking for years and for nothing, because even, you know, I tell you the results of the autopsy saying that everything was basically perfect. So yeah. Why was I saying that? I just lost the plot now. But anyways, no, this is very important because it makes you see how many deep beliefs we have and how deep is the conditioning from really everything out there that is preventing you from having the capacity in your systems to do whatever you want. So getting back to the death door, it's just another example of how the reality we create can be really, really different from the reality that we think is the real reality and the true reality we are supposed to live in. No. That is also a movie that somebody else is projecting for you using all these manipulation and beliefs. And if you understand that, you are able to delete these algorithms, delete these apps that have been put in your brain, delete all these old systems and beliefs if you don't like them. If you like them, you can keep them, of course, and you have the free choice and free will to keep them. But if you don't, it's easy to change them. It's like deleting an app from your phone and do an upgrade. Is as simple as that. So, but sometimes, yeah, some bodies are so tired and so malfunctioning because of the toxins, because of heavy metals, because of medications, because of all the things maybe we have to breathe or eat or drink and we don't know about, that we really get intoxicated by all of that, and your body is not able to afford that anymore. It's like at some point you have to change your computer or your cell phone because you can do the upgrades, but it becomes so slow, so heavy that at some point you need to change it. But I believe also this is the last time we do that, because even if we decide to go for death, when we come back, we will come back with such an advanced hard system that we will not need to go through all of this anymore. I believe this will be for the ones who are still choosing to die. I believe for any reason they decide to, I believe this will be the last time we need, if you want to go through death in order for you to get the upgrade.
Okay,
so
that's another conversation we will have.
Yeah. So this is why I told you we can have like this conversation for days and days and days, but I just wanted to tell some of the stories and to put some of the topics on the table, so maybe we can expand on them in the next videos, because I believe it's so important that we start really get out these topics and conversation, and maybe have comments and things to discuss with other people as well, to spread the information about all these things. Of course, the people who do this kind of self journeys, they discover these things and topics themselves, and we also invite them to join this conversation, because we can have different perspective and experiences to share as well. But also it is important for those who have never heard about these things, or have never done any kind of spiritual personal journey with themselves, to hear about these things, so they know maybe some topics to look for, to start from somewhere, or maybe to just know, okay, she is very, very weird, so I can go and share with her this very, very weird experience I had, because I cannot talk to anybody in my family, anybody in my circle of friends, in my social groups, at school, or whatever, at work, or whatever it is. But I know I can talk with Agnes and Margherita, because they are like crazy person. Perfect.
Perfect.
Just come
We
and
are.
talk to us. Yeah. We are here for you. Yes. So it's
Yes.
been already a long video. So I don't know if you have any questions or anything, but definitely we can do we can plan another conversation before next week, or whenever you want.
Yeah, we do that, because it's such a deep topic, I guess, even when we talk about grief and these situations, and not to mention the conditioning what we get these days, and not to mention the politically correctness these days, what drives me nuts, not to mention the triggers what we get day in and day out, and people are weird about it, and there is just it would be it feels like, right, there are these polarities in life, right, and if you check back on history, right, things, I don't know why, but needs to go really bad before it gets better again, right? So there are these flows, I guess, and we are experiencing it on so many levels. The bads in relationship, where dating is going, where divorces are going, where healthcare is going, where everything is going, right? It's like, it feels like we are really right in, or just before something that goes, there is an option to go really bad and then come back from something, or we are just in the flow before moving to the other end. And I really do hope that we are, that it is turning better before it.
And yes, it's a flow. So the thing is, good that you introduce the polarity, because it's also a very important law of the universe. The thing is, when you're not centered in yourself, in your truth, in the beliefs that you choose you want to have in your software, hardware, wherever, you are a sort of victim of the extreme polarities that the system out there wants you to stay. Because the more extreme the polarity you experience, the less able to be centered you are. That is not even the truth, because you can be a master of the polarity law. So you can go from one extreme to another and be totally balanced and centered. But you have to have the right system in order for you to be there. Okay?
Right.
A lot of people that feel they are not so strong in their center when they get manipulated to one of the two extreme polarities, they lose their balance. And that's when the fear comes in. And when the fear comes in, whatever the topic is, you lose control of yourself. And this is when you lose the faith and the trust, and you think that the control is the most important thing you could possibly get. So when you are in that state of fear, the only thing you look for is control.
Or someone who can take instead of you that control and has the...
In any form, because that is also another big topic.
Okay.
In any form. But if the thing is, if you are looking and prioritizing control over trust and faith, you are likely to use the connection. So you are likely to use the 100% of the connection to the creator, to yourself, to all your layers, and to the possibility of making the miracles that you want. Because you become the victim of your survival self looking for control.
Yeah, right.
So this is another big topic that is very, appropriate to talk about these days. So maybe we want to do the next video on this, I don't know, or anything else. But I believe there are a lot of topics in this conversation of today that can be and have to be explored and expanded.
Yeah.
Even this story is not finished yet, but I just used it to, bring on other things.
Yeah. And you, as always, managed to bring it to a point where it's full of love and light and synchronicities and acceptance, and it was interesting to see how, even while you are telling the story, and even you still of course experience the realness, but you were able to take in the magic and the truth and the light behind it, which I don't think many people are able to, but it's definitely something what right now I want to know it, right? I want to know how I can do that, because it just makes the whole human experience lighter and smoother, and something where I'm not cringed and afraid, but really gives that lightness. And thank you very much for sharing that. And whoo, man. Yeah, that was a doozy one.
So thank you for saying that. And maybe, yes, as a closure to this video today, we can do a beautiful healing. And you know that also in ThetaHealing we do downloads. So we can use the energy of creator, the energy of unconditional love to remove the programs, the beliefs from our systems that we don't like, and replace them with other beliefs that we want to have in our lives, in our system, so that we can create the reality that we really want. And we used to call this replacement a download. Because it's like downloading this energy, this feeling from the library of the creator, from the cloud into our computer, in our system, right? And actually, I wanted also to change this vision and description, because I realized myself is just a personal feeling. So it may not be the truth, but it is what I feel about this. And maybe it is an upgrade of how we do these things. Instead of downloading our system with these energy feelings and blah, 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 so we can have them inside our physical body as well, we just open or unlock the connection to the cloud where these feelings and thoughts and programs are. So we don't need to download the software in our body, making it heavy and removing or occupying, let's say, a lot of space and energy that maybe we need for other kind of functions and powers. We can just not download these things, but just leave them in the cloud and just open our connection to the cloud. So these libraries of files are always available to us, even if we don't have them in our cell phone, computer, or whatever.
So that's an interesting one. Yeah, we will talk about that later, I think, in another episode. Let's remind me of that and my memory. So yeah.
So today I just want to do a healing to close the video, but instead of doing the downloads in the typical Theta Healing way, I will just ask the creator to open the connection to the information in the cloud without the need to download the feelings, the certainties, the programs. No need to download and to make the system, the body system, heavy, running slow, or whatever it is. Just opening the connection to that. And if you agree, also to remove all the old apps, programs, softwares of any kind that are old enough to be let go of, that you don't want to have in your system anymore. And also the ones that you still want to have, they can just stay in the cloud. We can just call it Akashic Records, quantum DNA, the cloud, whatever you want to call it, just use that name, but is the concept that you need to get, instead of having it in our body, so that our body can be lighter and lighter and lighter and experience lighter energies and higher frequencies and vibrations. Because if the body, physical body, the physical matter is too dense and heavy, it's hard for the material matter to move very quickly. It takes a lot of energy. So it's true that we are always connected to the creator, to the higher source of energy, but still we are in a material form. So we need to take care of the matter as well. So if it's too dense, too busy with all these things, maybe it doesn't work properly because we are removing energy from other functions that are more important. For example, more intuition, more psychic powers. Just use that energy of your body to do that instead of running the apps. So we can move the apps on the cloud. We can rewire the brain and the system so that we are lighter. So if you all agree, this is the healing that I will do today.
Yes, please.
You like it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it. So as always, we don't need really anything to do these healing meditations. Just close your eyes. Just take a deep breath. Relax. Feel connected with your heart. Feel connected with your body. Feel connected to your brain, to your mind, to your organs, and all the layers that you cannot see, that you cannot touch, but you know that they are there for you. Feel your connection to the Creator, to the universe, to the source, to the light. And just trust that you are always connected to this energy, which is the energy of unconditional love. So I also ask you to imagine, to visualize, and to feel it in your own way. So you can imagine maybe a bright white light coming to you. You can imagine a soft cloud embracing you in a very tender way. You can feel it. You can really feel the touch on your body of this lovely cloud. It can be pink, it can be white, it can be the color that you like. Just know that you are surrounded and you are this beautiful energy of unconditional love, which is the energy of the creation. Is the energy that you can experience when you are in the theta state of your brain waves. And just enjoy being there. And now, if you agree, if you give me the permission, I will do this healing for you. So, for your brain, for your system, for your beautiful quantum computer in your body, it will be so easy to directly connect to the cloud of all the backup information, of all the possible information of the creator, where all the highest truths are, that you don't have to make a big effort to get to this information. It's very easy for you. Your heart is your guide to that connection. So you just need to ask your heart to bring you there and to open up the file that you need and want at any specific time. Easily, gracefully, always guided by the highest truth, by the purest intent, and the unconditional love of the Creator. Knowing that you don't need to be scared, there's no need to be afraid, so all your survival self can be at peace, can rest. They don't need to be triggered, they have nothing to be afraid of, so they can allow it. And maybe now you can ask questions or one or more questions that you like to receive the answers for, the answers to, and ask this cloud, ask the creator, ask your soul, ask the higher self to let you receive the answer that you are looking for in the highest and best and easy and loving and fun way for you, in your own very way, the way that you understand the most, and that you are always able to do this conversation, to always do this Q&A with the cloud and the creator, and that it's easy for you. And you already know how to do it, and you do it anytime you want. So to receive all of this, just say yes. And you know that is done, is done, is done. We thank the Creator, we thank all the layers of ourselves or our subtle bodies and energies. Take a little breathe, but very deep and soft, full of kindness, full of love, full of light into your body, into your lungs, into your heart. Take it to your feet and upwards to the top of your head, into all your body. All your cells are now charged and filled with this beautiful knowledge. And this knowledge is available to you anytime. So it's up to you now how many things you want to know, find out, discover in the highest and best and easy way possible for you. Thank you, Stanistan. Now let's give ourselves a beautiful blessing with this beautiful energy, white light, pink lights, golden lights, glitter, sparkly lights and energies and vibrations. And when you are ready, you open your eyes.
Thank you.
How was it?
Wow. Definitely feel connected. I haven't felt that for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So much to take in, huh? So much to take in and so much to remove, I guess. It's like we are conditioned, aren't we?
Or we are not.
Or
Do we think we are or we are not?
Yeah.
We are not. Because if we believe we are not,
then we are not.
We can easily be connected, right?
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone being here with us, and we definitely will continue to these conversations, I guess, right? We will continue the conversations. Thank you very much for sharing your experience, Margarita, again.
And to you as well.
And hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.